also done, but it's voluntary. It's like advising them to stay at home for the next 14 to 21 days and not go out and go to parties. Just stay at home. Wherein a healthcare worker can visit them and examine them just in case they develop the symptoms. So I think that is the most important thing, because by the time they develop the symptoms, they would have already infected so many people. So I don't think the focus should be on, of course it's good to see, to get all of the people who have the symptoms, but by the time you detect the symptoms, they would have already infected so many people. So I think it's really the quarantine, the observation of people the moment they come to the Philippines from those countries, without saying that they are infected, to make sure that they do not carry the virus within a period of 21 days.
So you believe, sir, that they should be quarantined?
And if you remembered in the talk of Dr. Saniel, she mentioned that rather than doing the quarantine in the point of destination, it should be in the point of exit. Those countries in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, they should be the ones doing the quarantine, the observation for 21 days before they are allowed to leave the country. See, that is the ideal, but of course.
Will the government be able to arrange with Sierra Leone, Liberia, and...
The problem is, those are countries, they have their own laws and regulations. So it always happens that we are the ones who do the quarantine because that is within our control. Now, we cannot dictate on Sierra Leone or Liberia or the other countries to impose quarantine.
So, anong magawa natin ngayon, sir?
So, because they are not doing quarantine there, we have no option but to do quarantine here.
Wala po bang pagtutulungan yung DFA natin at saka yung dito, the DOH?
But remember, it's not just the Philippines involved. All of the countries other than, and in fact, if you saw the statistics, konti lang naman na pupunta sa Philippines if ever. Karamihan UK, France, kasi naman part yan ng British British Empire and the Francophone.
China, sir, marami din sila yata doon.
Sir, after exit screening, hindi sila nagka-quarantine doon? What if they are positive?
So far, they're not doing quarantine. So none that I know of.
So pag nag-exit screening and positive, they just say na...
What they're doing now is, kapag symptomatic, of course they cannot leave. Pero wala yung quarantine observation. Kasi maybe, it can happen kasi na you started incubating from the time you leave the country and it takes 21 days for you to develop the symptoms. So that's the window.
Kaya ang quarantine ng 21
So,
days.
kung wala tayong quarantine, sir, it is possible na kakalat sila.
Siya.
Yeah, because if they get out of the airport, they go na to their families. We don't know. They might be carrying the virus. It's just that they do not have the symptoms yet. Kasi alam mo, yung symptoms na yan, before you develop the symptoms, the virus has to multiply to a level enough to produce the symptoms.
It will show the symptoms.
Hindi naman yan just because you were exposed to one virus, you immediately develop it. It has to first grow, multiply, until which time na marami na siya, enough to produce the symptoms. Fever, diarrhea.
Our hospitals and our health workers are ready for it. Are mechanisms in place in order to counter this problem?
Based on my knowledge, the Department of Health, through the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, has been conducting already training workshops on healthcare workers, initially government healthcare workers, and now they're training private healthcare workers since 2 weeks ago. And this is really to prepare us in terms of handling suspected, probable, or confirmed cases of Ebola. So I think we are ready to cope, but what the important question there is the resources available, and I think that is something that the Department of Health is working on to make sure that all of the personal protective equipment in PPEs, we refer them PPEs, are actually available for healthcare personnel. Because of course, we don't want the healthcare workers to get sick themselves. Because if they get sick, then no one will take care of the patient. So, and this is also been emphasized by Dr. Saniel in her talk, that we have to make sure that there's adequate protection for the healthcare workers. Otherwise, we will be dealing with another problem, which is not just the affected patients, but also the healthcare providers who are also getting sick.
The healthcare
Yes.
providers themselves.
So it's the question of resources, and I think the DOH is now making sure that the money will be readily available once the need arises.